It's match day, and in typical West Ham fashion, an incredibly good team are just coming into an incredibly good patch of form at just the wrong time for us anyway, just the right time for them. We've got an injury crisis, we've got a ramshackle defence, we've got a mishmash of a back line, and I watched the press conference with a hope that we'd just learn a little bit of something. But David Moyes is quite coy. He's a very smooth operator. He's very well versed in batting the questions away that he doesn't want to answer. He was asked about the injury crisis. I don't know if Zuma's going to be fit or not. I don't know. I hope he is. He must do. We didn't learn an awful lot. In fact, that press conference was basically two managers blowing smoke up each other's whatsits. Look, Jurgen Klopp needs all the friends he can get at the moment after what happened with that game in Merseyside against Manchester City. I mean, he got sent off. There's a lot of accusations being thrown around from Manchester City. Bit feisty. That's turning into it was all friendly, wasn't it, for quite a while between Man City and Liverpool, but that's turning into quite a feisty old fixture anyway. So, no such criticism from David Moyes. David Moyes loves Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp loves David Moyes. Jurgen Klopp loves Paqueta. Everyone loves everybody. You could see up until the point where that first crunch tackle goes in, and then I'm sure all hell break loose. It ain't going to be easy game. It's going to be a tough game, and the one thing we really must do is sort out this defence. I hope Zuma's back. If not, we've got to do something else. This is really important that we go into this game completely different, with the defence completely different to whatever happened against Southampton. I think we got away with one there. That's why I wasn't overly disappointed with the point. I thought we got away with it. I thought our defence in the first half was terrible, and I don't feel that it improved loads in the second half. I just felt we passed the ball better. Southampton sat back. Basically, I do not want to see Thilo Kehrer at the centre of a three-man defence. It's really important that either Zuma comes back. It looks like Dawson's not. I don't know. Put Ogbonna in there. Move Declan Rice back there. Do something else. And that conversation is a feature of the video I'm about to share with you now, which is myself and Gio from our... Who's Gia? Myself and Gio from our Patreon's player ratings, which you can find exclusively on our Patreon page, which is basically, it's like a third Hammers Chat channel. 31 videos this month, by the way. Not only did I chat to Gio, also that was controversial, that game against Southampton, wasn't it? So we actually got to ask a former Premier League referee what he thought about it. You get all the stuff. So we got our patrons get to ask questions of special guests, and we're trying to build up Patreon as much as we possibly can to make it a really good and valuable experience. It helps us do Hammers Chat as a job, and hopefully gives you guys an additional load of content. It wasn't a foul. I'll give you a little spoiler. This bit at least, it wasn't a foul throw. Gutted, really. Anyway, myself and Gio, we're going to discuss this defensive. It's not a crisis; it's only one game, but we are going to describe now the defensive conundrum without too much of an argument.
So yeah, 9 for me for Fabianski. Moving on to our back three, then Ben Johnson. What you got?
Well, I think his arse is too big. I think if he was doing a little bit more exercise, quite frankly, then the ball wouldn't have deflected on his arse and into the goal. So I think he's got to claim some responsibility for that. Mind you, he has been injured, and I think when you're injured, you probably eat a little bit more. I felt sorry for him, not because of his arse. I felt sorry for him playing next to Kehrer. I really did. He had Soufal one side of him. They was like a filling in a shit sandwich, really, wasn't he? Let's be perfectly honest. He had Kehrer the other side, Soufal one side. The trouble was, and he was okay defensively for a lot of it in terms of standing his ground. Unfortunately, they worked out to pass around him, and he was easily passed around. Little 1-2, bang, and you're through, and you passed him. And that's the right thing to do, by the way, because I think he's very good one-on-ones, Johnson. Very good at it. So I thought that was as effective display of passing around Johnson as I've seen. But there you go. You can pass around him. You can pass around anyone if the people either side of him are not going to track their runners, and that's what was happening. I am actually, but I think he did relatively well. So I think he bailed us out a few times. So I'm actually going to give him a 6 out of 10.
I'm going to give him a 5. I thought he was all right. I think he could be doing better for their goal. I think there's one or two people that could be doing better. He's one of them. I don't like seeing defenders turn their back on someone striking the ball. You know, Craig Dawson would never have done that. Dawson would have stood firm, tucked his hands behind his back, and just was prepared to take it in the face kind of thing. And had he not jumped, it might have hit him in the torso or something. I mean, why are you jumping from there? Why does your head need to be that high? The ball's that high, it's going over. There's no need to jump. Just stand still. You know, Salisu did it for Southampton at the other end. 2 occasions, we had a shot. Salisu stood still, 10 stop, arm behind his back as much as he could, and just took the shot. Johnson's jumping, that allows the shot. Now, it is just unfortunate. It hits off his arse and goes in. But he shouldn't be leaping from there. It's a really poor decision from him to come running out and jump like that. I think all round his game was all right. Defensively, he was okay. Offensively, difficult. He can't really go forward when Cresswell's in the back three with him. I think if, say, Dawson was at the other side of Kehrer, then you'd expect Johnson to be making a few more advancing runs. So it is quite tricky when he's got Cresswell there, because if he goes forward and Cresswell goes forward, we've got one defender, suicide. So it's a difficult role for him. And 5 just means you were all right, and I think that is exactly what Ben Johnson was yesterday. He was okay. He wasn't good nor bad, but somebody that was bad, I think, was Thilo Kehrer.
Yeah, but I think he had a game of 2 halves in that sense. I do think actually there was some good stuff in the second half. One of those ones where we say, you know, he might have been a 7 or an 8 in the second half, but he might have been a 2 in the first half. And just naturally, you're going to talk about the stuff that he did badly because it was horrendous, actually. We needed him to stay in the middle. That was his job on this one, particularly when he's got 2 fullbacks either side of him. It just makes absolute sense, doesn't it? That if you're going to play a back 3 and you set one of your centre backs or 2 of your centre backs are going to pull wide, it's going to be the wide ones who are used to playing at fullback, right? Your guy that can play at centre back has played at centre back. You have to stay in the middle, and it was really evident early on when he sprinted to the left wing position to try and win the ball. What on earth are you doing? What are you doing? Only Johnson was left in there. No cross came at that point. It should have done, by the way. And if I was Hassan Tutel, I would have been screaming at right, okay, you've got something here. He kept on moving out of position. You can't do that. You know, one thing about being an adaptable player is you have to be adaptable. So when you play at right back, look like a right back. When you know, whatever, if you're asked to play in central midfield, play that role. All right. On this occasion, it was a very, very specific task, which is basically, ain't got any central defenders. You're going to have to be it. So stay there, and do an impression of, for this game, do an impression of Zuma, will you? Or whatever. Do an impression of Dawson. All right. Don't do an impression of Roberto.
You're asking me to do an impression of Zuma. I was already kicked the cat.
You were, Paul.
Simultaneous cat impression.
Absolutely. Stereo cat. Yeah, so, you know, I think that's what you got to do. And the instruction, I'm pretty sure the instruction would have been that as well. All right. What I don't want you to do is overthink this. Don't start getting creative. Don't start running off. Don't start pretending you're a fool. But other people in the team are there for that job. Cresswell and Emerson can deal with that side. You don't worry about it, mate. And I just think the whole lot was, that's not the whole lot, up until the point of the second half was much better. But, I mean, we were lucky to only be, it was that bad in the first half. We were lucky to only be 1 goal down, really. But we were only 1 goal down, and it was much better in the second half. But, you know, it's all the negative stuff that sticks out. So I'm going to give him a 5.
I'm going to give him a 3. When Kehrer first joined, because I had an opinion of him prior, unlike Skamaka, I was almost surprised at how good he was for the first few games, because I thought, wow, this is definitely not the player I remember from Schalke. This guy's really come on leaps and bounds. Then when I see him at right back, I think, all right, there's an element of it. Well, yesterday, there was Schalke Kehrer yesterday, running out of defence, rushing out, the blood to the brain, just no composure, no calmness about him whatsoever. David Moyes has told us this man is a leader. Well, I saw the complete opposite yesterday. I seen a guy that needed led by somebody. I saw somebody that needed someone like Craig Dawson to put the reins on and pull him back into the centre of defence and say, stay still, stop running out of defence. So if this guy's meant to be the leaders as such, now and I'm aware he technically won't be in terms of hierarchy of the captaincy because Cresswell's next to him, but in that first half, that was the worst performance I've seen from a West Ham centre-back this season in 45 minutes, I think. He was ridiculously poor, rushing out, and then when he was on a one-on-one battle with Che Adams, he was getting bullied. The first chance that Fabianski has to bail him out with a save from his feet. Che Adams just throws him to the floor. It's like the way Kehrer bounces off him and ends up flat on his face in the 18-yarder. As a centre-back, that's got to be a little bit embarrassing. I'd imagine Zuma and Dawson would have been watching that thinking, well, I'll get my place back when I'm fit because that guy ain't keeping me out of the team. What is that all about? I thought he was really bad in the second 45, a bit better. But Southampton helped that. Southampton didn't attack him. Che Adams got nowhere near him in the second half. They retreated and tried to hold on to their lead. And I think that just lightened the pressure on all of our defence, actually, including Thilo Kehrer. I think he really benefited from him. There's a couple of nice sliding tackles. Full-hearted, bang, in you go. I like them. But the first 45, I can't get away from it, Gonzo. That was shockingly poor. It was so bad that I went and watched the Liverpool game yesterday. I know you did as well. I was watching it, dreading watching Thilo Kehrer play against that Liverpool attack. I was watching that Liverpool attack thinking, Christ, if Kehrer plays like he did at the St. Mary's, they're going to be 3-0 up before half-time. If I was Klopp, I'd be rubbing my hands thinking, I can't wait for this West Ham back three coming because we're going to tear them to pieces. So a 3 for Kehrer. However...
hold on, before you do. All right, someone's lying, okay? Let's just get this right. I got told twice, and even someone said it afterwards, right? Che Adams is 5'7" and Thilo Kehrer is 6'1". Someone's bloody lying. All right, I saw them next to each other. There's that much difference, I'm telling you. And Che Adams is significantly wider. Someone is bloody lying about their height. Either, when they write it down on the Premier League registration forms, either...
I'd like to think the club doctor measures them, but carry on.
Then I would suggest either the Southampton club doctor or the West Ham club doctor's lying, all right? Because that ain't true. Right, unless they're both lying, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. But there was one point where because he's quite barrel-chested, Che Adams. He's sort of
but Che Adams' haircut's like that deep.
He's got really long studs.
He's got a tall haircut, Che Adams.
Well, I'd say something's going on, you know, because I'm sorry, this mismatch between the big burly central defender and the diminutive little pipsqueak hobbit striker. But hold on a second, there's something very amiss here. So yeah, I'm just saying, I'm not buying it. I'm not having any of it.
It's because of his Marge Simpson haircut. That's misleading. Actually, a couple of inches to his height. Maybe that's why he has his haircut
and weight.
Like he is stocky. He is a little bugger.
James says, Dr. Google's, he's not 6'2". I'm just not having it. I'm not having it. I'm sorry, right? This is wrong. He's not as tall as Dawson. All right, it's just not.
He probably is. It's just that Dawson knows how to use his height better.
Well, it's like I've seen stood next to each other. I don't. They weren't kissing or anything, but yeah, I'm not having. There's a conspiracy going on, is what I'm saying. I think it all needs to be thrown out. I think they need to start again with the way they measure the height and the pace. Premier League footballers.
That information will be on a website somewhere.
James is absolutely right there, by the way. Okay, so Rice is 6'1". All right, and that's about right. Okay, I've seen him in real life. That's about right. He probably looks about 6'1". Declan Rice. He is bigger than Kehrer. Honestly, he's a ringer. That's what he is. He's an absolute ringer.
Right, according to WHOScored.com, he's 186 centimeters, which is 6'1". Thilo Kehrer, and let me check Che Adams. So 6'1" according to WHOScored.com. They have it down to the centimeters. It just depends whether you believe WHOScored.com. They have Che Adams at 105 centimeters, which is 5'7".
I tell you, someone's having a bubble bath here.
Anyway.
I'm not having it. It's a conspiracy.
Well, are you having me giving Cresswell an 8? Because I thought
I will allow that.
I thought he was excellent again yesterday. The only reason he's not getting a higher mark is because his set pieces were atrocious. But apart from that, I thought he was absolutely faultless for the duration of the game. His passing in the second half in particular was a joy to watch. I thought he was zipping it in real fast. And Ben Mama, Paqueta, Scamacca, there's 2 or 3 well, at least one instance for each of those players where he got the ball and he sort of chucked it around one or two Southampton players into the feet outside the 18-yarder. So they go involved in our goal. He's the one that helps start that move off with Rice and Benrahma. He's banging for him at the minute, is Cresswell, an 8.
Gonzo's probably lied about his height and all the dating apps he uses. You can't do it, mate. You can't do it. I'm telling you, you cannot do it. You cannot.
You know, just like add a couple of inches and then turn.
Oh, I wish. Oh, sorry, height.
Turn up with a couple of clogs on or something, just to...
Yeah. No, you can't do. You cannot lie about your height or your age.
Maybe you should get like a fake tape measure that like adds
Prove
on
it.
a couple of inches and then just take it out in your date. But look,
I'll borrow the Southampton doctor's tape measure. I'm going to go out on a day and she's looking down on me. I'll turn around and say I'm 6'1".
And it's 6 inches one as well.
Centimeters, or whatever the bloody hell it is.
Yes,
Cresswell. Oh, I'll tell you what, he moves particularly well for a big lad, doesn't he? 8-foot Aaron Cresswell. Our delivery's really good. He's in good form. I like the way he attacked. I thought he was almost the least concerning of our defenders as well, which obviously was his job. I felt bad for him. I felt bad for him, really, because I wasn't impressed with, as we've mentioned, Kehrer, who was one side of him. I wasn't overly impressed with the guy in front of him, Emerson as well. But, that's all right. Cresswell's is an excellent player. Corners, terrible, by the way. Corners, terrible. I'll let you give him an 8, by the way. I'm not giving him an 8. I'm giving him a 7 because there were so many bad corners. He has to be marked down for it. That being said, there weren't any big guys to aim for. Well, apart from the Giants. So, I'm surprised. Kehrer just didn't nod in about 10 goals.
Adams was defending it all.
Of course he was. Of course he was. Towering over him. Nodding about the way. All 4'2" of him. Anyway. Cresswell played well, though, mate. I thought he was absolutely one of our better players.
No.
Yeah. Was it a foul throw?
What? No, because no, it's not a foul throw because long as any part of your foot is on the line or behind the line, that's fine. It's not a problem.
You heard it. You didn't hear it. You heard it here last.
Obviously, David wanted the goal disallowed for Southampton, but there's in the laws of the game he cannot do that. The only time he can stop it if the ball hits him.
Okay. So not
and to be fair,
during the play with Jared Bowen. I probably should have asked that.
No. And it's just poor positioning by the referee. He needs to be out of the way.
Oh well, if only they'd have encouraged him with a better pie. I blame Southampton for that.
Yeah, he wasn't at Wigan, was he?
He wasn't. That's where we're all going. That's where we're all going wrong, mate. You want good referees? Get them to Wigan.
Go to Wigan.
Mark.